De Gaulle, Story of a Giant, is a comprehensive biography that chronicles the life of one of France's most iconic and towering figures in history, Charles de Gaulle. His impact on French politics, world affairs, and the course of history in the 20th century is profound, with his leadership playing a crucial role in shaping modern France. As a military officer, leader of the Free French forces during World War II, and the founding father of the Fifth Republic, de Gaulle remains one of the most influential French figures of the century. Here is an in-depth look at Charles de Gaulle's life, leadership, and legacy, which is often referred to as the story of a giant. 1. Early life and background. Birth and family. Charles de Gaulle was born on November 22, 1890, in Lille, northern France, into a Catholic, conservative family. His father, Henri de Gaulle, was a teacher and a nationalist, and his mother, Jeanne Maillot, was a devout and supportive figure in his life. De Gaulle grew up in an environment that emphasized education, military history, and a strong sense of French pride. His early life was shaped by the cultural and political climate of France in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Education. De Gaulle was highly intelligent, and after his schooling in Lille, he attended the prestigious Saint-Cyr Military Academy in 1909. He graduated in 1912, joining the French army as an officer. Even at this early stage, de Gaulle exhibited a strong sense of purpose, determination, and an interest in military theory, which would influence his later decisions during World War II and beyond. 2. World War I and early military career. World War I. During World War I, de Gaulle served on the front lines in various roles, including as a captain. He was injured multiple times during the war, including being wounded in 1916 in a battle near Verdun. After this injury, he was captured by the Germans and spent much of the war as a prisoner of war, POW. His captivity would have a lasting impact on him, shaping his views on the importance of French unity, national strength, and military modernization. Post-war career. After his release, de Gaulle resumed his military career, rising through the ranks. He became known for his writings on military strategy and tactics, particularly his ideas about armored warfare, which would later influence the development of modern tank tactics. In the 1930s, de Gaulle advocated for a modernized and mechanized French army, but his views were not immediately embraced by French military leaders. 3. The interwar period and political views. Military reforms and political views. De Gaulle's belief in the need for France to modernize its military led him to clash with conservative military leaders who favored traditional forms of warfare. He was also highly critical of the French political establishment, particularly the weak Third Republic, which he believed was ineffective in responding to the challenges of modern warfare and global politics. His experiences in World War I and his time in captivity had deeply influenced his views on the role of military strength and the need for national unity. The author and thinker, de Gaulle's intellectual output during the interwar period was significant. He wrote several works on military strategy and the role of France in the modern world. His most famous work was The Army of the Future, in which he stressed the importance of mechanization and the need for bold, rapid military maneuvers, ideas that would be proven correct during World War II. 4. World War II and the fall of France. The German invasion of France, 1940. When World War II broke out, de Gaulle was appointed as a brigadier general in the French army. In 1940, the German invasion of France quickly overwhelmed French defenses. The French government, led by Prime Minister Philippe Pétain, sought an armistice with Germany. However, de Gaulle, who had been promoted to the rank of general, refused to accept France's surrender. He fled to London and made a dramatic radio address on June 18, 1940, calling on the French people to continue the fight against Nazi Germany. This speech marked the birth of the Free French forces and de Gaulle's emergence as the leader of the French resistance against the Nazis. The Free French forces. De Gaulle's leadership of the Free French forces was instrumental in maintaining French resistance against German occupation. From London, he managed to rally support from various French colonies, and he became the symbol of French defiance. The Free French forces received support from the Allies, particularly from Britain and later the United States, and were essential in the liberation of France. The liberation of France. After years of struggle, the Allied invasion of Normandy in June 1944, D-Day, led to the liberation of France. De Gaulle returned to Paris on August 25, 1944, and famously led the victorious French forces through the streets of Paris, symbolizing the restoration of French sovereignty and pride. His return to Paris marked the beginning of his political dominance in post-war France. 5. Post-war France and the founding of the Fifth Republic. Leadership of the Provisional Government. Following the liberation of France, de Gaulle became the head of the Provisional Government of the French Republic. He worked to restore order, rebuild the country, and establish a new political framework. However, de Gaulle's leadership was not universally accepted. He resigned in 1946 due to disagreements over the structure of the Fourth Republic, which he felt lacked strong leadership and stability. The creation of the Fifth Republic. After years of political instability, de Gaulle returned to power in 1958 during the crisis of the Algerian War. The Fourth Republic was on the brink of collapse, and de Gaulle was called upon to lead the country once more. He drafted a new constitution, which established the Fifth Republic with a stronger executive branch and a powerful presidency. De Gaulle became the first president of the Fifth Republic, a role he held from 1959 to 1969. 6. De Gaulle's presidency and leadership. Modernization and economic growth. As president, de Gaulle focused on modernizing the French economy and expanding its influence on the world stage. Under his leadership, France experienced substantial economic growth during the 1960s. He pursued policies that emphasized national independence, including the development of France's own nuclear deterrent, known as the force de frappe. Foreign policy. De Gaulle's foreign policy was marked by a commitment to French independence. He sought to limit the influence of the United States and NATO in European affairs, notably withdrawing France from NATO's military command in 1966. He also sought to assert France's leadership in Europe, pushing for a united Europe that was independent of American and Soviet influence. De Gaulle was a key figure in the creation of the European Economic Community, EEC, which later evolved into the European Union. The Algerian Crisis. The Algerian War of Independence, 1954 to 1962, was one of the defining issues of de Gaulle's presidency. Initially, de Gaulle had been opposed to Algerian independence, but over time, he recognized the inevitability of the colony's independence. In 1962, he negotiated the Evian Accords, which led to the independence of Algeria and the end of France's colonial presence there. 7. Decline and legacy. The May 1968 protests. De Gaulle's presidency faced a significant challenge during the May 1968 protests. A wave of student demonstrations and labor strikes erupted across France, challenging de Gaulle's government and his policies. The unrest, which was part of a broader global wave of protests, threatened to bring down the government. However, de Gaulle managed to maintain control, and after a period of political maneuvering, he called for new elections and secured a strong mandate. Resignation. In 1969, after a failed referendum on constitutional reforms, de Gaulle resigned from the presidency. He withdrew from public life and retreated to his country home, where he spent his remaining years writing his memoirs. Death and legacy. Charles de Gaulle passed away on November 9, 1970, at the age of 79. His death marked the end of an era in French history, but his legacy endures. De Gaulle is widely regarded as the father of the modern French state. He is credited with restoring French pride after the trauma of World War II, creating a stable and strong political system, and ensuring France's place as a global power in the 20th century. 8. De Gaulle's legacy. The Gaullist movement. De Gaulle's influence on French politics remained strong long after his death. His political philosophy, known as Gaullism, emphasized national sovereignty, a strong executive, and France's independence from foreign influence. His vision shaped French politics for decades, and the institutions he established in the Fifth Republic remain in place today. Symbol of French identity. De Gaulle became a symbol of French resilience and national pride. His leadership during World War II and his role in restoring France's independence and global standing made him a giant not just in French history, but also on the global stage. His legacy continues to shape the national discourse on French identity, sovereignty, and international relations. Conclusion. Charles de Gaulle's life truly reflects the story of a giant, as he transcended the challenges of his time to shape the future of France and the world. From his early military career to his leadership of the Free French forces during World War II and his founding of the Fifth Republic, de Gaulle's legacy remains one of the most significant in the 20th century. His commitment to French independence, his leadership through turbulent times, and his enduring influence on French politics ensure that his story will always be remembered as that of a giant in history.